Hey guys, it's BATJAC J.W. here. It is Saturday morning. That's right, you're tuned in to the channel Saturday morning. Well, maybe some people, it's not Saturday morning. Could be tuned in at a whole different other time. Maybe it's not even morning. Maybe it's afternoon. Or maybe you're at work. You never know when somebody's tuned in. Okay, so let's get this radio show started. And as always, we're going to do some shout outs there, and we'll talk about some stuff. And since the last time I saw you here a week ago, we had some questions that people had asked, and I like doing that because I like answering the questions that some of you have to ask and whatnot, and also getting you guys right there involved in these videos. I like having you guys involved in the channel and all that. All right, so I got Bob Hartman, Baron K, Mr. Holster, Mad Murphy. All right, and where's the 454 Packer? I didn't happen to see you comment. At least maybe you didn't comment. Scott F, EB Saint, Russ Elder, Darren Bag 6 Gun. That's right. Thanks. And the Duke is up, and he's hanging right there in the back. That thing is followed everywhere, and this is a really cool poster, and I've talked about that before, where Darren had sent that to me. That was one of the very first things I ever received, and it's right there. And I have this really cool 1911 thing from 454 Packer. I'd like to hang that up, but I'm still trying to figure out how to hang some of that stuff. It's get the frame on it, because I got a really cool a little poster thing right here that's in its frame and everything. I want to hang it up, but it's a little heavy, so I figured that out. And there's another poster right here that you can't see, but it's kind of neat. But if you check out my second channel, that's BATJAC J.W. Radio Show, you saw a video of me receiving that and getting that, what I put up there. And I kind of want to make a little collage of random posters there. Maybe I'll do a video this way. We'll hang it up and do some stuff like that. So, all right. And I got Edward Petty, Joe P, as always. So I really appreciate it. There's a lot of you that are, round up the usuals. And Bernard Flood. And I have Disposable 762, Lion Quest Fitness. I carry one. I haven't seen you comment for a while there. And a Crazy Scotsman, Rooster Cogburn himself, and the Bohemian Hunting Club. So I appreciate all of those that have actually left a comment there. That's usually how I go about doing the shout outs, because if not, I don't know if you're watching or not. So also there was another video. I did a throwback video. Hopefully you checked that out. Had some others, these other old magazines that I see here. This one here has a bunch of stuff from Inner Arms on the back, like a model. Look at this. They just call it the Model 357. But they're kind of nice little throwbacks to these old Smiths. And it looks like a nice little copy of a Walther PPK, except for the beaver tails a little extended there. But hey, look at that. They made one in 22 LR. So, anyhow, last time we met and we were talking about some stuff, I wanted to actually make a video about this, and it was I know it kind of almost has like a negative impact, or a way it sounds, about being cheap. And that's a lot of how I actually acquired a lot of stuff that is actually being cheap with it. And one of the rules about doing this, and if you're going to start a collection or start building a collection or looking for stuff you want to add to your collection, for me, a lot of it was obsession with revolvers. And once I started buying a lot of Smith revolvers, I started realizing I was getting spoiled, because I really liked the Smith & Wessons. I really liked the way they felt, because they really just had that feel to them that just others didn't have. I had Tauruses. Tauruses are nice. There's a lot of them that are there. And with Taurus, it seemed like for me it was hit and miss. Some of them were good, some were bad. So it was really hit and miss. A buddy of mine back from Hawaii, Cody, if you've watched my second channel, you've seen him appearing in a lot of the hangout videos that I did. Cody actually wound up buying a model, I think it's like a Model 85 Taurus or something like that. We actually saw it together at a gun shop. I remember checking it out, because I remember I never really saw one of those older Tauruses too much. So I remember checking it out. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty nice. I almost thought about going and picking it up. It was only like 200 something bucks. Seriously, it was like $250, something like that. I forget exactly what he paid for it. But you know, I went on break while I was on my job. I went back, you know, while we was on break, so we went back. The place was right across the street from where I worked at the time. And I remember him coming back, like I saw, and then he took off, and about an hour later, he came back to the counter and goes, "Hey, I bought that gun, you know." I said, "Really?" I said, "You actually went out over there and bought it." So I did a video on that. So I put it up there. It's on the channel. You can check it out. Search for Taurus. And now one of the things I was trying to get that addressed on my last radio show that I did. I get a lot of messages on a daily basis, and a lot of them is, "Hey, when are you going to do a video on this?" Or, you know, "When are you going to do a video on that?" And a lot of times I've already done it. Actually, I've already done the video, if not done one or two or three or multiple. And that's the thing is I got to start to think, and I looked, and right now, currently on the channel, there's over 700 videos that are still available. And actually, that's not even counting some of the ones that have either been kind of removed or taken off as on part of the public feed. Now, some of it's available only on my Patreon page now, and it's available for free. You don't have to pay anything to go watch them. It's just mainly because I was trying to, during some times that was kind of tumultuous, I wanted to protect the channel from getting, you know, anything bad happening to it. So, you know, some of those decisions that may be made, well, taking some of those videos off, you know, I just felt like, yeah, it was safer to do because I wanted to protect the channel. I didn't want anything to happen to everything that we've done, because coming up here will be 5 years, you know, coming up in, you know, I mean, not too much longer. I mean, it's just been a long time. It's crazy to think I've been doing this for over 4 years. Doing this over 4 years, there's over 700 videos done on this channel. That's not, I mean, and then countless, I can't even count how many times we've filmed something. It either goofed or something, or it just never made it. We just never really used it. There was some stuff that I remember throughout the times. I remember finding it in the old files and just posting it up as like either lost footage or extra footage that we shot that day. Pun intended, right? But, you know, there was some stuff that I remember there was some extra stuff of like the Colt or the Colt Diamondback. I think we shot some extra stuff that day, and I wound up finding some of the clips on that. And I said, well, you know what, we should just put it up there, you know. So, anyhow, so there's a lot of content out there. Basically, is what I'm trying to tell you in a nutshell. There's a lot of content that I've done. There's so many videos I did, and you know, way back when I started this channel, I was gearing it towards, like, you know, I said, well, you know, I'm such a revolver fanatic and such an old school gun guy. I love all the old stuff. I remember when I was first buying my firearms, I heard a guy I was buying them from. He's the guy who kind of taught me a lot about this stuff. And he says, you know, you buy a lot of guns that somebody like twice your age would be buying. And I said, well, you know, I don't know. I just like the old stuff. But then he taught me a lot about what to buy, and he said, hey, if you're going to buy this, it would be a collectible if you want to do this and this and go this route and all that. So I really learned a lot from him. But I learned to be cheap, to try to, you know, again, you know, it kind of has kind of a bad sounding term, you know, to be cheap. But you know, I don't have a lot of money. I guess, I don't know. I guess some people think I do, but I don't. And a lot of times, some of the stuff that I got to film is really not mine. I had access to a shop that had it or somebody that had it, so I got to film it. I said, hey, you know, hey, can I photograph this thing? You know, oh, sure, yeah, go ahead. You know, so that's you know, sometimes that helps out a lot. It helps out a lot if you're gonna try to, you know, build a channel. If you always have, you know, a way to photograph something that maybe it doesn't belong to you, because there's no way I could possibly own everything that I try to film here. You know, some people do. Hey, if you have the money, go for it. You know, I hear a lot of that joke of saying, well, you know, currently right now, no way there's I could afford it, but post-lottery, sure, why not? It's always a joke. But I've always been able to, you know, wait it out or look around and say, you know, I'm going to pick this up on a cheap way. You know, I don't want to, you know, I'm going to wait and find out, you know, if I can get one for a little bit cheaper. And a lot of times that's what I've done. Some of my higher end guns, you know, that I didn't actually pay the higher end price for. A lot of it was searching on Gunbroker, and just knowing, and the hard part about doing something like this, if you're going to go at it, if you're going to say, oh, I really want this item, you know, you see it and the guy's got a hefty price tag on it. You don't really want to pay that price tag on it, but you got to remember it's really hard to do this. I believe me, I know all about this. It's not the only one in existence. There's always another one to come along. So sometimes letting it go and then moving on and waiting for another one to show up. That really out here I was really for a long time, which I did a very recent video on it, was that the Smith & Wesson Model 19 Snubby revolver. I've always wanted one of those. I don't know what the romance and the attraction to me with it was. I was always attracted to that revolver. Really liked it. And of course I have a snubby problem anyway. I just like when I see them, I just have this thing like, oh, I always want to, check them out and everything. But I always wanted one of those. And when I moved out here to Arizona, I saw so many of them in gun shows all the time. It was crazy. I was like, I never really got to ever see one, but I always kept seeing them in gun shows all the time, over and over and over and over again. So one day when I finally, saved up a little bit of some cash for it, and that's usually what I'll do, is I'll just save some cash for it if I'm looking for one. And then when I go head on into trying to find one, I went to this gun show with the intention of finding one. That was what I was going for. And usually if I do go to a gun show, it's usually I'm looking for something. Because I usually don't like to go because, like my good friend, the gun enthusiast said, he was like, we were joking back and forth one day on the comments, and he says, man, if I don't have money, I don't go, bro. And I was like, you know what? I totally get that, because you'll see something that you really want, but you don't have the money for it, and you're just going to be kicking yourself the whole way home. And the rest of the weekend, all you're thinking about is, man, God, I should have. I wish I could have got that. So that's a good point, just to not look and just kind of go, I'm not going to go. So, but this time around, I had the cash. I wanted to go. But and most of the time, every time I saw them, I kid you not, they were up there in the $1,000 range. It was like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's definitely for me. That's a pretty hefty chunk to spend on a firearm for me. So it's a tough one. So when I went, and of course, luckily I found one for a lot less than that. It was not, nowhere near than that. So, and it's just really seeing so many of them and knowing that, they're just, that's one thing living out here has taught me, that there's such an abundance of firearms and old firearms. I mean, if there's something I'm looking for, if I really want it, I can go to a gun show, grab a fistful of dollars, and really try and pick one up. But I wish I could afford more. I wish I had a lot more money, and I could just afford to just pick up any old one that I wanted to all the time. But I can't. So now these days, especially now that I don't really spend so much money on guns as much as I used to anymore. It's rare that I'll buy something now, and I will still buy something, but it's got to be, a lot of times I pass it by. But when I was buying a lot of my Smith & Wesson revolvers, I was very fortunate that, and it's crazy to look back. I've been buying stuff for like 10 years, and it's kind of crazy to think that that's how long it's been, and that time doesn't seem like it was that long. But I was very fortunate that, and back when I was buying them, it seemed like kind of, a little pricey too, but not too bad. I was buying Smiths for $400 and $500 at most. And then now you look at them and it's like, to me, like, I didn't think I would ever see that when I was buying them, or feel that sense of like where I see something like now when I, some of the ones I owned that I've really literally paid like $400 for, and I see them at a gun show or I see them for sale in the shop, and I'm like, wow, really? The thing is like $800 now? There's no way I would have bought that when I was first doing this. There was just no way. But it's waiting it out and seeing if you can find one for cheaper. I bought, so many, like I would go on Gunbroker. There was a time where I was searching for something, and some shop had like multiples, 4 or 5 of them or something, and they had all these auctions going off at once. You had to jump in there bid on one and see if you can get it for a low price. So that's there you're getting like $1,000 gun for like $600 because just right place, right time, just trying to find them and snag one up. So. I've been fortunate that I've stuck it out a lot of times. I would go without it. I would just say, well, I guess I'll have to pass. I'll have to live without it for a while. And then all of a sudden one day I come across it and it just so happens the feller doesn't want very much for it, and I pick it up. My very first Model 29, I literally picked that thing up for less than $500. I mean, sure, it had some scars and wear on it. I redid the lockup on it, but I bought that off a gun broker, off of a pawn shop in Arkansas, Monty's Pawn Shop or something like that. I literally bought, I bought stuff like that. And I still have it. It's still something that I have. I got lucky with my 8 3/8 Model 29. Somebody had some different grips on it and had a mounting system. They wanted to, shoot with a scope and everything like that. They stated in the auction they had the original sights. I wound up buying that thing for like $600. Seriously, a friend of mine helped me get it through Gun Broker. Got it. He put the original, sights back on it for me. I gave him the mounting rings because he worked some magic for me and got it for me with his FFL and all that. And I just tossed him. He said, "Here, you can have the grips, you can have the mounting scope stuff." I put a pair of custom or old original looking grips on it and everything. But you look at that gun now. I mean, those things are expensive. They just are. But I was able to be fortunate enough to stumble across them along the way for a lot less money. And that's usually what I do is I wait. I just stumble. Like out here, I'm telling you, man, I love pawn shops because I will always offer less. And they usually will take it. They usually will just work with you. Someone will, someone won't. It's just it is what it is, right? But I know that kind of maybe it sounds like, oh well, gee, if you see me coming to buy anything, stay clear away from me. But that's just I mean, hey, if I had a lot of money, then why not? I wouldn't care. But I don't, and I built my collection really being cheap. I should say more or less being patient with the money and trying to figure it out. I remember the infamous one was the Diamondback, the Colt Diamondback, and I called up the company or the place that had it. It was on Gun Broker. I said, "What's wrong with this thing? Because why is it $600?" Yeah, guy said, "Well, it has some holster wear on it. The picture doesn't serve it justice." I thought about it and I said, "Well, what the heck? I mean, $600. I guess I'll take a chance." That's still not chump change. It's still, some hefty money for me. I bought it. And to my surprise, it wound up being a really good condition gun. And why did I want it? Really, I didn't buy it for the collector's sake of it. I bought it because of the movie Brannigan with John Wayne, 1975 or something. But that's me. That's what I do. Because that's what interests me. A lot of these old movies, as I talked about many, many times. Anyway, but yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you and chatting with you. I'm gonna cut it off now and get out of here. Let you guys enjoy your weekend and everything like that. I appreciate everybody that subscribed to the channel and has been here chatting it up with me and just hanging out, and we talk about some of these old classics and stuff like that. So. I remember I did talk about this. I just haven't, because a buddy of mine are still using them for any kind of other stuff he needs, because I really was not in need of them right now. But I did happen to get, as I talked about it, a couple of my firearms actually featured in a low-budget movie. So the low-budget movie was actually called a John Doe Western, and both my single-action Cimarrons and my Winchester 97 shotgun was actually featured in that independent low-budget movie. So that's a really cool for me. That's really awesome. And they were actually carried by the main characters. And my 2 6 guns had my grips on it that I had made for my guns. So that's really cool. I think that's really awesome for me. So really neat, because that's really ultimately why, what really got me into all the firearms is a lot of movies and stuff like that. Growing up and watching Dirty Harry and John Wayne flicks and stuff like that. So, but anyway, yeah, if I can get them back and feature them, maybe I can get a picture or something from the movie or whatever and feature it on here. I'll go ahead and do that. But I did want to talk about that because I remember some radio shows ago I actually talked about that. And so Actually, I am looking. I don't really want to say too much right now because nothing is in the light. But I am looking to purchase something, and this is actually the first time you could almost say I'm actually kind of looking at it for its sole purpose of its function, and that's mostly because of what I do for my job and stuff like that. So I may be purchasing something for a sole purpose of its function, but we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I usually don't do that, but you'll have to stay tuned with the channel, keep up with me, find out what it is, and don't forget to check out my Patreon page because a lot of times I post other videos there that is not necessarily here on the channel, and some exclusive stuff that are early stuff. Maybe some people are seeing this before they actually see it on Saturday morning. So, thanks for watching.